And that's one of the things that we'll have to change. We'll have to change their culture a little bit so that when somebody comes to the door, the first question should be, how can I help you? It shouldn't be, here's all the things you have to do for us to approve you.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. And joining me this morning is Medicine Hat City Council hopeful candidate, Immanual Morritz. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, this is not your first venture into the political arena.
No, it is not. I ran for council last time and ended up 10th, I think.
1,287 votes. I did the math.
12. Good math. And I was on the Catholic School Board for 2 terms in 2002 to 2007. And I've worked on the Municipal Planning Commission for a decade, pushing a square rock up the hill.
I was going to ask you about that because I thought you also have a background in construction as a builder, as a business person. Mm-hmm. So you've seen City Hall almost from 2 sides.
Yep. There's a lot of red tape in City Hall compared to lots of places that attract more business than we do. And that's one of the things that we'll have to change. We'll have to change their culture a little bit so that when somebody comes to the door, the first question should be, how can I help you? It shouldn't be, here's all the things you have to do for us to approve you. So that'll be a big step, but it's a cultural change. It'll happen over time. You're going to have to deal with it as a council and tell or instruct your CAO to get rid of some of that red tape.
How much actually can the city get rid of, and how much is imposed by the province or even the federal government in safety regulations?
Well, if you're looking at the Department of Municipal Affairs, Danielle Smith sent a missive to her minister that said we should say yes first to development. If the province if that's going to be the provincial guideline, I think it's something we can do.
Okay, so we just have to do it.
We just have to do it, right? If you're just sitting back in your seat saying we can't do this, nothing's ever going to happen. Mm-hmm.
I know there's a phrase that raises your hackles. It's called the forgotten corner.
We don't like that. We certainly don't like that. What happens is that we believe it. We truly believe that we're the forgotten corner so that when we don't get something, we can just say, oh, look, we're the forgotten corner.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah, we can cry, and businesses do that as well. I mean, if they hear that you're the forgotten corner, that means maybe they can't get all the government services that they need. We're not on the highway or whatever, and they'll say, well, maybe I can go to Lethbridge, where Lethbridge is not the forgotten corner. We have to get rid of that moniker. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe the city can grow. And if we don't, and we keep saying, well, we're the forgotten corner, we'll never get anywhere. We need some economic growth here. It's been pathetic for not only this last council, but probably for since 2013 or so. We haven't done anything.
One of the things that I have said to many of the candidates that have been here is that economic development has been an issue in every election municipally that I can recall going back to 1978. So if we keep talking about it, maybe somebody's not doing it right.
Somebody's not doing it right? And that, again, is a culture here. I think what we have to do is, it's a sales job. City's just like a business. We have to sell it. You and I have to sell it. Everybody in medicinehat has to be an ambassador for the city. We have to get out there and dig for those businesses. We have to say yes when they come. We have to work on doing face-to-face. This works. This is where the magic happens. If you're just putting an ad in a newspaper or a magazine or a phone call or an email, you'll get nothing out of that. So there's lots of places you can find economic development. There's a department in the government, right? They make people come to them and say, where can we go? And right now they're saying, let's go to Lethbridge. Let's do the corridor from Tabor to Fort Macleod. And we are not mentioned because we don't go there and say, hey, remember we're here. Mm-hmm. Danielle Smith is our MLA. You have to lean on that. It's not going to be your MLA forever. So that's a source for us for economic development.
I think during one of the forums, I think it was Ted Clugston who made the comment that a telephone works both ways.
We should phone first, right? When I was on the school board, my job was to talk to the Minister of Education. So every couple of weeks I phoned him. Once a month I drove up on my own dime to Edmonton, bought him lunch. Then he knew where we were. We got a school out of it. We got lots of extra things that wouldn't have happened if you didn't talk to anybody. If you're just sitting back and saying, yeah, something will happen, it doesn't happen. This last council didn't talk to Danielle Smith. The council before didn't talk to Rachel Notley because of some political agenda. But whether it's Rachel Notley or Danielle Smith, you have to talk. You have to say, look, we need some economic development. You can help us.
It's all about relationships.
Absolutely. Relationships work. Face-to-face works. Talking works.
Your signs, as I drive by them, and of course you can't really read them too well, but I believe it says fiscal responsibility.
Actually, it says, what does it say? It says citizens first.
Okay.
And it says good leadership.
Okay.
And council needs to provide good leadership. That means within council you have to provide good leadership. And citizens first is what council's first job is. They work for the benefit of the citizens of Medicine Hat. If you're not thinking of them first and thinking of the city proper or the city, the business that's the city first, you're not doing your job. If something comes to you and it'll work for the city but doesn't work for all of us, you shouldn't be on side. You should make it work for everybody. But they're not doing that. Right now, it seems to me they've been working for the city rather than the citizens. And there will be lots of good leadership with this new council, I think.
You're feeling hopeful about that?
Well, I'm feeling hopeful, yeah.
Yeah, and that's from your interaction with the other 38.
Yeah, there's lots of good candidates that some obviously aren't as good. That's how it works. Democracy works that way.
Mm-hmm. I think it was the UCLA basketball coach, John Wooden, who used to say, if we all think alike, then nobody's thinking.
That's right.
So you do need to have a mix.
We need dissent. So what happens now is they have consensus. They have a meeting ahead of time. They have consensus. They bring that consensus forward to council, and all you hear is what the consensus was. What you need to hear is you need to hear that dissent. So what happens there, I might disagree. If I disagree, you're going to hear that at council. If you have a point of view, you have to say it to everybody that's there. You say it on YouTube. You say it to the people that are there. And just saying, well, we had consensus. So
okay.
Nobody knows what's going on now.
And that's where the perception of too much business behind closed doors
It is a lot of business behind closed doors. And everybody thinks that it's a team. Well, it's not really a team. What it is a collaboration. A team implies there's a coach and we're all following this set agenda. And we shouldn't be. You got 9 independent souls there, 9 people thinking different things, 9 points of view, and you better be honest enough to tell the citizens, that's my point of view.
Would you be able to work with people who have opposing views?
Oh, absolutely. Opposing views make you smart. You learn a lot of things from opposing views. If you live in your echo chamber, you never learn anything. You just keep repeating the same mistakes or whatever all the time. You go to the doors. You hear a lot of opposing views, and that's where you learn stuff. Just saying to my friends or everybody I know, this is a great idea, and they'll agree with you, doesn't work in the real world. You got to find out what everybody thinks, and you got to take that forward. I'm pretty good with that. If you've got a better idea, I'm going to ask you first, but I'm going to steal it, and I'm going to use it.
That happens in politics a lot.
A lot, you bet.
Yeah, just take credit for it.
No. I give credit.
What have you been hearing on the doorsteps from people in Medicine Hat?
Well,
What's their concern?
Their concern is taxation. The electrical utility, whether we keep owning it, they were generally really unhappy with 2 years ago when their prices went through the roof, which was council should have set the rate for us in the city. They were making money at whatever they were selling it at. If we sell it to the grid for a ton of money, we're all happy. They're certainly worried about a repeat of the last council. So there's a lot of general unhappiness about the previous council. For whatever reason, it's the past. Let's move forward to something else. Let's not dwell on what happened. Because if you want to dwell on what happened, read the report. There's enough information in there, and you can make a decision from there. They're worried about growth. I mean, for me, one of the reasons I'm doing this is I have grandkids, and I'd really like them to stay.
Yeah.
But you need growth. You need a job for them to stay. One of them might stay because his wife's parents are here, maybe. The other one, he's going to be gone as soon as he can, right? Because he says, well, there's no job for me here, right? The other interesting phenomenon that occurred that, I kind of laughed about at the beginning was Division Avenue. Mm-hmm. For everybody, you knock on the doors in Northeast Crescent Heights, and one of the things that came up was Division Avenue. And I'm going, okay, I use it every day because I live there. I don't manage to make too many of the corners in my truck. So there's a bunch of black marks on the curb. But, you thought, well, you don't use it very often, but they are concerned that it will happen again. It'll happen on 3rd Street Northwest, or it might happen on Kingsway or something like that. As a plan, you're going, so what did you guys do? You went to a conference. This was presented by somebody, and you thought, well, let's try that in Medicinehat. Well, it doesn't work. 2 weeks ago, I was driving down Division Avenue, and a fire truck came up behind me.
Oh, boy.
So what do? I got a truck. I just drove on those nice orange printing that they have there. The fire truck went by. In the winter, I won't be able to do that. So nobody talked to the fire people. Nobody talked to the garbage people. They didn't talk to the bus people. If you have a trailer anywhere in that neighborhood, you can't get off that street, so you're driving on the side streets now. So I'm going, nobody really thought this through, right? So
we need to learn from that.
Yeah, we need to learn from that. We need to never do it again. It's a problem you can't fix now. There's no way you're going to spend another $2 million to take it apart. If you thought about it, you could have the bike trail on one side, you could have the pedestrian walkway on the other side, and you could have left the roadway because it worked. It's been there since I've been driving, so that's 50 years, right? Mm-hmm. Could have just left it alone. It worked quite well. There was no need to change.
I get a kick out of, I think the term they used was traffic calming, but
I'm not really certain that's traffic calming. I walk my dog, and the pedestrian walkways have the sign at the pedestrian walkway saying there's a crosswalk here. So you're going, well, that traffic's coming pretty fast, faster than it used to go because they're frustrated.
Yeah. And
a little bit of that traffic is moving to both of the avenues, on Medicinehat High School side and on Westminster Church side, because they're coming to the top of the hill, and they're just going to the sides, just to get rid themselves of the frustration. Because I'm not thinking it's any quicker if you drive on Hat High side. But
no, a project like that, would it have gone through Municipal Planning Commission, or would
I don't think so.
Rubber stamped? And
no, it's municipal works. So what would have happened is that they had some open meetings, and they said this is what we're going to do, but they present that as a fait accompli. They've got picture boards that look like what it was when it's done, right? There was no discussion ahead of time. It would have come to council for a budget, right? Budgetary control is what council does. So if you look at this as a member of council and you're going, well, maybe if we want to do this, we have to go somewhere to look at it first, right? But it was a little bit over $5 million or $5.2 million, exactly what it is, I don't know. But the underground work had to be done. I mean, the sewer and gas and water had to be done. New pavement had to be done. But they spent something north of $1 million on making it narrow. So that didn't need to have done, right? $1 million or $1.5 million we can spend for something smarter than this.
Fiscal conservatism is something that you have on your social media as part of your platform.
Yep. We don't need to spend all the money, right? We have 65,000 people. We spend $400 million a year. Only $80 million of that comes from taxes. There's lots of places we can save $5 million or $100,000 or anything like that. The money is better in your pocket than it is having the city spend it. I mean, we spend millions of dollars on consultants. We have staff at City Hall can do this job. That's why they're there. So instead of telling them, you do your job, they say, well, let's find a consultant in Toronto. And then we end up with Division Avenue, right? They can do this work. We don't need to spend all this money on consultants. You have staff.
Another head scratcher is the approval on $4.9 million for the Southside Recreation design. And they haven't even decided if they're going to build it.
Well, let's look at that. $4 million on design. You think of, in construction, design is about 10% of the cost. So now we're looking at $40 million for construction costs. We're going to build an outdoor swimming pool. We're going to build an outdoor ice sheet. Or we're going to build a lazy river and that kind of stuff for $40 million. You got to take a deep breath when you hear that. So Southridge requires some rec facilities. They've been without for a long time. But let's talk about the Crestwood Pool. Crestwood Pool has been on its last legs for a decade. Indoor pool, 25-meter indoor pool. We can build that in Southridge. It'll take some money, but it's an indoor pool. You can use it year-round instead of the 4 months a year that another outdoor swimming pool would be used. We can work, say, with the Y, or we get some money from the feds or whatever. It's a well-used pool. People that don't want to swim in an Olympic-sized pool go there for swimming. They do rec there. They do exercises there. They do some yoga there. And that's all valuable wellness stuff that we can do and use year-round, right? And a rink, we spend, well, if you're into any kind of hockey, I think you spend $300 an hour for ice. You know, it's a lot of money. So another ice sheet could overcome the problem that we had with Big Marble Go. When they added the addition, the original concept was for that to actually add that second ice sheet, and they didn't do that. So a new ice sheet, single ice sheet, you could build fairly reasonably. It doesn't have to be the Taj Mahal, big tin building. You know, we could do that in the south as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we did see money spent on the Moose Rec Center to bring the ice plant back to usability. Mm-hmm. But you got to wonder about the Heights, the Hounds Rec Center.
The Hounds is old.
Heights. Same age.
Same age. So, tell you how old I am. We played grade school hockey.
Outdoors.
Outdoors grade school hockey. We played at St. Francis. We walked over there, and it was great when it was minus 10. You know, there's the days when your coach said, "No, doesn't matter. We're going out, and it's minus 25, and the wind's blowing." You're going, sucked all the air out of you pretty quick.
Didn't want to be on the bench in those games.
Didn't want to be on the bench, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah. When we look at property taxes, we've heard some promises that 0% increases. Is that actually feasible?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
That means you got to cut something.
No.
Or grow the city.
You got to grow the city first. We have north of $700 million in the bank. We just say, let's use that, some of that interest every year for that. We can, in 4 years, we can find some cuts, right? It's not magic. You just have to look. You have to do your job. You have to be diligent. You have to find this. The information isn't as forthcoming from the staff as it could be, right? In 4 years, we can get some business to come. We got to go out, beat the bushes. Let's do something simple. Well, not simple, but let's do something like a data center. Right now, we don't have the energy capacity, which we don't. But if you tell the energy regulator, look, we got a data center coming, and they'll say yes to you building another generator. And that's good money for the city. I mean, it's a ton of good money for us. It's not like the people that are working at this data center are going to get $10 an hour. And it's not a lot of people, but we sell the energy. We make money on the energy. And if you have one, maybe you can do, like we do HUD 8 now. And there's one more that whose name I've forgotten right off the cuff, but we have two right now. Yeah. They use a ton of energy, and we make money on that. It's not like we're giving it away. So we can do that because we have the ability, because we're a monopoly, to do those things.
Yeah, I understand that the infrastructure doesn't exist, though, to service the south end of our city. If you were to look out in the southwest corner. Well,
we've done a new transformer. They've finally got approval, they got approval now. They'll build it, so we'll have that energy capacity in the south, I think. But if you're going to do a data center, you're going to do it up by Canadian Fertilizers. They've got the generators there, HUD 8's there. You just build another one right next door. And it's not like you have to design a whole new one. We built it. Mm-hmm. We'll just do it again and again if we have to, right?
Yeah. I can hear minds talking to their computers right here. Well, what about the Sama Solar Project? That's right there. It's power.
No, it's not. I mean, I can't run a data center with solar power. I just can't. So my wife and I were in Germany before Christmas. Went to the Christmas markets. My wife just loved that. But you look on every house, every apartment, every building, outhouse, barn had a solar panel. You transferred the responsibility for the energy to the user. So if you have a solar panel on your house, you can use that electricity for virtually nothing. Right? And you can sell your excess capacity back to the city, or you can buy a storage system, a battery storage for your house, and be independent of the grid. Us spending $600 or $700 million on a solar field is perhaps beyond the pale for us. That's a lot of money for 65,000 people for something that's at best intermittent. And then the argument will come up, well, we'll do storage, right? But you're going, storage isn't free. Yeah. The lithium battery thing degrades over time. The solar panels degrade over time. So you're going, so we've invested in a resource that's diminishing all the time. You know.
Mm-hmm. Control of the utilities was one of the hot topics in the last council. The idea of a municipally controlled corporation, remove responsibility of some of the decisions from council who may not be equipped to handle that.
Well, I'm sure that not many people that have ever been on council are equipped to handle all of that. That's why you have staff. The difficulty with an MCC, well, it's like Allied Oil. Remember, we bought an oil field at Manyberries? So that oil company was 100% owned by the city, but it was separate from the city. And I think that's what the MCC wants to do. But you can't make that decision on that little executive summary or executive précis that came with it. Said, we're going to spend some money. Well, how much money we're going to spend? Well, maybe $4 million, maybe $40,000 for all these guys. We might be better off to split the job. Like we have an administrator, a CEO, and we have an energy person. So we did that before, and it worked reasonably well. So you've got two different people providing you with information. That would be a simpler, less expensive way to get enough information to make decisions. Rather than saying, okay, we're going to sell it, or you're not going to sell it. You're going to give it to them. You're still going to own 100%, so the ownership doesn't change. Just the people doing the work changes. And it's not like the city said, oh yeah, we're not going to make any money off of us. But they did that 2 years ago. They made a ton of money off of us. So it's not like, well, they're going to be greedy. Well, you're going to have to tell them, yes, you have to give some money back to the city. But right now I'm thinking that's not going to be the best way to go. I think divvying up the job, which will be reasonably the same amount of money, right? You're going to hire an administrator for a couple $100,000 or $250,000, and the same for the energy person. I think we can do that. We have enough staff, good staff, that can do that.
Your thoughts on city contributions to the medicinehat exhibition in Stampede?
I'd need to see a lot more information before I give somebody $15 or $16 million. Right? I love the Stampede. I've been here all my life. I go to the Stampede. I watch the Chucks and stuff like that. But it's a lot of money, right? So if they're going to do anything, they have to get money from all the other levels of government before they come to us. They have to raise some money of their own. They have to provide financial statements. I mean, if you think about it, you could perhaps move the Stampede someplace else. You could do something with that land. You could sell it for housing or whatever. So there's lots of opportunities. It's a big place in the middle of the city, so I don't know how much money they make. So it's difficult for me to say yes, or it's not difficult to say no unless you have that information. $16 million for the city of medicinehat, that's a lot of money, right? $60 million is 3 years of tax increases. $5 million a year for 3 years, that's $16 million bucks.
Okay, all right. What about the situation we see every day in Medicinehat with the people who have no place to live?
If we had a solution, man, we could bottle it, we could give it away. They're here, right? We have to be compassionate. We have to take care of them. Winter's coming. We have to find a way to edge them on with a bigger police presence, So things that they've been doing in Leduc, I think, is that they've started not harassing, but those people that are involved in the crime side, they've picked them up, taken them in, they get released. Next time they pick them up, take them in later in the evening, so maybe they stay overnight. Next time, maybe 2 nights in jail, or in the Huskow for 2 nights. And sooner or later, they'll say, wow, I can go back to Calgary or Lethbridge where they don't do this thing, right? So you have to edge them out. I mean, we can't just say, well, we'll throw them on the bus, right? I mean, there's no bus, right? So they're here. We have to do the best we can with what's here. There's lots of not-for-profits and those kind of things. The thing up at the old youth hostel was
Labor Hall, yeah.
Youth hostel before.
Yeah,
in the olden days, would have been a step in the right direction, right? You removed them from the downtown. They were going to provide all the services, which was drug rehab, mental health support. They'd feed them, they'd keep them warm, So, I mean, it was a different step. Really, it moved them. I live downtown, so we have that traffic all the time, and generally most of them aren't stealing anything, but they're out, right? They're drug-induced in the night, so it's a difficulty for people. People don't come downtown. Yeah. It actually is not the only place. They transfer out. We did Northeast Crescent Heights again. We did doors out there, and the lady said last night there was a homeless person in my backyard. So it's not just downtown. It's just concentrated down. You see them all the way time, right? So every municipality in North America has homeless people. And there's been no, this is the best solution, this will work. If you do housing first, that's great. It works in Finland because they're all Finnish or something. But, if you're going to do that, you have to have support services there. You can't just say, here's a house, go to the house. You have to have mental health service. You have drug addiction services, right? You have to have all those things in place. And then maybe you have to have the province giving you support because that money isn't coming from us. I mean, drug addiction and mental health issues belong to health. And they should be not downloading it on us, for us, we small cities. They should be doing that work. That's their job.
Transparency is another word that's been kicked around a lot. I know you have some thoughts on that.
Transparency is a buzzword. Everybody says it, but nobody believes it, right? If you're going to be on council, you have to be honest, right? Whatever your thoughts are, get out there, be blunt, blurt it out, tell everybody what you think. So if you're going to do something on council, you better be forward enough, forthright enough to stand in council chambers and say to everybody that's sitting there, everybody that's on YouTube, this is what I think, this is why I think it. If you're not doing that, you're not transparent. You're just not. They do work in the dark, and they come out and they say something, but that's not transparency. Transparency is seeing that dissent right up front.
Sometimes you do have to do some business behind closed doors.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, contracts, HR, there's things you have to do, but they're pretty small. I mean, they're pretty small. Yeah. If you're going to, perhaps fire your CAO, that's a closed discussion. If you're having a contract, if you're doing a contract for millions of dollars with a private company and they don't like you to tell all these things before the deals are made, that's confidential. There's confidential issues for sure, but I bet you 95% of the stuff they do is open, and they should be open enough with the citizens that you know what's going on. I mean, sometimes I read the agendas, and it's a 600-page agenda.
Yeah.
So my wife says, "Oh, you're just like in college. You take a highlighter, because I print them because I can't do it on the computer. I must admit. So I print them and do the highlighter thing, and then you're listening to them, and they're asking questions to council, and I'm going, you didn't read the agenda. It's in the packet. You didn't read the agenda, or you didn't understand the agenda. So if you're going to do this job, you better be able to read all this stuff, to swallow it in really quick, because it's a lot of information. And if you don't understand the information, ask somebody. There's lots of people where you can get information from. If you don't feel the information provided by the CAO is good enough, you tell the CAO, look, we need more information. Find some of your staff to come in and explain it to us, because I can't make a decision with whatever information that you've given me.
Yeah. Government speak.
Government speak. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When I go into the ballot box and I have 39 names and I have 8 votes, why should I spend one for Immanual Morritz?
Because I'm good at what I do. So I'm a construction guy, and construction teaches you those things. It teaches you financial proficiency. You got to be able to read your financial statement. You got to be able to know where the money comes from. And really, you got to know where it goes. That's the problem right now with most councils. They know where the money comes from, you and me, but they don't know where it goes. So that's not a good system. You got to be able to do strategic planning, because you got a job right now, but you need a job for next year. So you got to be out hunting. You got to know, how much money can I spend? Where's my profit going to come from? You got to be able to collaborate, because, I mean, if you got any kind of site, house, big building, you got 20 or 30 subtrades. Those guys got to work together, because they want this job to be finished. They want a good quality job for the owner, and they all want to make money. So there's no goofing around. So if you have an issue, you talk about it right away. You don't wait months and months and they say, well, we should have talked about this months ago. Maybe we wouldn't be here in this problem now. Collaboration is important. I was on the planning commission, and I was on the school board for 2 terms. In that time, you can figure out how government works, things that work for government and things that don't work in the government. So that's the background. I think those skills will serve well for any council. It'll make me a good councillor.
Immanual Morritz, looking for your vote on the 20th of October. Thank you for your visit.
Thanks, Brian. It was a lot of fun.